Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So hit subscribe if you'd like to join the fun and paint along. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Okay, so spring has sprung pretty much officially here on the Pacific Northwest coast. It's so gorgeous. We have these bulb type flowers popping up everywhere, so I was inspired to paint a beautiful bouquet of tulips for this week's acrylic tutorial. So thank you for joining me. I have my 3 standard brushes as per usual. This is a 1-inch wash brush. I have a medium-sized pointed brush and a small detail brush. I'm gonna get those in my water cup off the side of the screen. The colors that I have on my palette paper here are just the primary colors plus phthalo green and a little bit of black and white. So just red, blue, yellow, green, phthalo green, and then black and white. If you'd like to see a full materials list of everything that I use, go ahead and check the description box below. It'll bring you to my website, to a materials page that shows you everything that you need to paint along. Okay, let's go ahead and get started today with the background. So we're gonna do this painting in 2 parts, like we usually do. And I'm gonna take my large brush to start with a little bit of water on it. So a little bit of water always helps that acrylic paint go nice and smooth. And you're gonna wanna choose the colors here for your background. Now I'm gonna be doing sort of a spring, feeling kind of pastel type composition here for my background, but truly whatever colors you would like to do will be great. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with a gorgeous mint green. Because I love this color. So I'm taking that phthalo green and mixing it with a little bit of white. And then I'm taking my big brush here and I'm gonna go in this upper right-hand corner and just start filling in that canvas with the color. You wanna make sure that it soaks into the canvas texture. And you're just gonna be moving your brush every which way. I call these crazy brush strokes. Getting some good wrist exercise in, developing some dexterity. And we're just gonna bring that gorgeous blue-green color in towards the middle here of the canvas. And I'm gonna start blending. And this is where, again, you really can have some fun and you can do whatever colors you would like to do here. But let's start maybe with a little bit of a yellow-green now in this lower corner. So just adding that beautiful sunny yellow color. And the idea here is to get it all filled in and then blend the colors together. Okay, so don't be shy, don't be scared here. If you're working with colors that are nearby each other on the color wheel, such as these greens, you should have no problem whatsoever. If you're going across the color wheel with an orange and a blue or something, you will end up getting brown. So just be mindful of that. If you would like to know more about color theory and what happens when you mix colors and how to blend different hues, I do have a course specifically on color theory and it is available on Udemy and Skillshare. Check the description box below for more information about that too. That is certainly a fundamental element of acrylic painting, but you can always just follow along with me and try to figure it out the hard way too. But that breaks down the color wheel and how to blend colors and everything like that. So check that out. I think maybe a little bit more light yellow, just kind of right in the center here. I'm doing these light colors for just sort of that, spring type feel. Gorgeous. Okay. And you can also decide kind of what color that you'd like to do your vase as well, and be thinking about that as you do your background colors. So again, complementary colors and how to pick color schemes are also in my color theory class, and that is something that I do consider when I create compositions. So you can find out how to do that as well. Let's see. Let's do orange, a little bit of orange, I think. So to make orange, I'm just gonna blend my yellow with my red. It's gonna be more along the side of yellow, so more yellow here, just a little dash of red goes a long way. Very nice, like that. Ooh, pretty. Just gonna throw that orange up here. And also, again, blending those colors, allowing there to be some overlap. Looking good. Very similar background here to one of my most popular paintings, which is my Dandelion Make-A-Wish painting. I've been teaching that one for almost a decade now. So this background is so fun and one of the most popular for sure. And this is kind of a take on that. Okay, and then let's see, how about a little bit of purple? Gonna grab my red here and just sneak in a bit of blue. Ooh, so pretty. And I think I'm gonna add a little bit of white in there as well. And there I have my beautiful background composition colors. Really pretty. Blending that pinky purple into my orange and whatever's nearby. Pulling some of those brush strokes into the other colors. Okay, we want every little bit of canvas filled in with paint, even if it's white. You want to get all of that nice and consistent. Make sure that it's soaked into the canvas texture nicely. Okay, how pretty is that? I really like that. Okay, now let's go ahead and just do a little bit of blocking out before we take a quick break. So I'm going to take my small brush now and I'm going to grab a little bit of white. I'm just going to trace out where I'm going to have my vase. This is going to make things easier later. So I'm just going to come out here from the bottom, just a few inches over, maybe about a third of the way, or between a third and halfway. Like so. That's going to be our vase or our vase, however you'd like to pronounce that. Okay, like so. And then just a little curved brush stroke off the side like so. And now we're going to do a kind of strange step now. One last step before break. So we're going to add the greenery and the leaves before we add our flowers. And it's going to look a little strange, but just go ahead and trust the process and trust me and go along with me here. We're going to have greenery without flowers. So it's going to look a little strange. So I'm taking my medium-sized brush now. And I'm going to mix up a beautiful vibrant green with my phthalo green and a little bit of yellow. Have that now loaded up on the brush. And I'm going to come out here. I'm going to very gracefully press my brush down as I come down and create these very pretty little leaves. You can go over it a few times like so. And now some of these are going to be where the flower is actually attached on the end, or they're going to be, you know, the little side leaves. Now, so you get to decide kind of how your composition is going to look. So maybe that's a side leaf, and maybe that right there is going to be a stem. So I'm kind of have that, you know, in my head as well, thinking about how I'm going to be creating this composition. You know, you do have to trust the process, but you do also have to have sort of a composition in mind. So it's important, particularly when you're following along with, you know, videos or tutorials or a teacher, that you don't lose sight of your composition and what you're creating there. So don't get lost in the step-by-step. Make sure that you're creating your composition how you would like. So I'm thinking maybe I want to do a flower right there. You can kind of adjust things too, but just having a little bit of, you know, forethought beforehand. That's probably a good life lesson, is have a plan, but, you know, be flexible and allow some adjustment there if necessary. Okay, and then I'm going to bring them up here as well. That's why we did our vase first. Like so that we know where we're putting everything, just like we're building a bouquet for real. Nice wide brush strokes that come narrow again. Very good brush stroke practice. Almost running out of my green. Okay, there we go. Like so. You want to have a fair amount here of these. Again, also we can adjust later. We can add more greenery, but this way we'll have a nice like background greenery layer so that we can get some layering in with our beautiful flowers, our focal point here. Okay, a few more here, maybe one that comes right up like so and like so. Very pretty. Okay. If your background is still wet and you're getting some blending, you can always just give it a second to dry. I didn't use very much paint, so more water today, so it dries a little bit quicker. Okay, very nice. And I'm just gonna grab a little bit of white, mix it in with that last little bit of yellow that I have. I'm creating a highlight color here. And with just some wet on wet blending while we have the chance, I'm just gonna swipe some of that secondary color in there and just break it up so that it's not just one solid green. Just using our opportunity here for some wet on wet blending. We'll do some layering on these guys later as well. Just really quick and easy technique there, though, to get some highlights going and create some depth here. And actually, we don't need to worry too much about down here unless you're gonna do a clear vase. I'm not sure yet. I think I may do a purple vase instead. So you can, just detail those ones down there if you're gonna have a clear vase. But if you're gonna cover it, then, maybe not waste the time, but it doesn't really matter either way. That way, at least everything will look nice and consistent. Okay, let's go ahead and let this dry now. And we're just gonna step away and come back and add a whole bunch more once this is dry. So I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, welcome back. I have a dry background, fresh colors on my palette, and I also washed my brushes and got fresh water at break. I have the same colors on my palette than I did from before, so just my primary colors, red, blue, a little bit of yellow. I'm not gonna use very much yellow, a little bit of phthalo green, and then some black and white again. Okay, let's go ahead now and jump back into it by creating the main shapes and filling in the base color now of our tulips. I'm gonna do that with my medium-sized brush here, and I'm going to paint pink tulips today. So I'm going to use red and a little bit of white for that. Okay, just a pinch of white in there, and then now is the fun part here of creating these sort of main focal points here of the painting. You just wanna do a little horseshoe, like so. And then here's the technique here that I use. A little bit of water in that paint always. And then from the bottom here, I'm just gonna pull my brush strokes up. That's gonna create all that pretty little flower texture there at the ends of all the little petals. Okay, like so. And all the little folds and crinkles of the petals, like so, okay? And you can do however many of those that you would like. Now, creating your little bouquet. So easy and just such pretty colors, my goodness. All right, like so. And I think I like to have one kind of dead center as well, since again, we are talking focal points here, so don't forget that right there. They don't have to attach to the end of each one of your greenery. We're just kind of layering things up here. Okay, like so. And then it looks nice too to have some that kind of go off the edge, like that. And let's do one more. Let's see. You can cover the green pretty easily if you add a little bit of white. White always makes things a little bit more opaque, but there's a possibility that you might need a second coat of pink, and that is totally fine. I'm just pulling up those brush strokes. Such a simple way to paint tulips. Okay, very nice. Like so. And then yeah, in some of these areas you can see a little bit of peekaboo. So just a nice amount of white in there will cover it up. Allowing there already to be a little bit of variation as well in the colors. Okay, so your goal is to have it be nice and opaque, but not necessarily just solid one color pink, okay? Because we are gonna add a couple different colors here. All right, and then just always being mindful of the direction that our brush stroke is going. Every brush stroke matters. Really got to be mindful, particularly with these really simple shapes that only really take a few swipes of the brush. There we go. Very nice. You want it to kind of gracefully taper off here at the top parts, like so. All right, and just sort of the bottom parts of these. And it's okay if they're kind of peekabooing off here the side, like so. All right, very nice. And just making sure I don't want to add any more. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 flowers. Should I do one more? No, I think I'm gonna go with lucky 7. Okay. And just making sure everything again is nice and opaque and that I can't see through very much. Like so. Very nice. Now, I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to do a little bit of wet on wet blending with that white, a very, 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 very light pink. Just going to go in there and throw that in, and it's going to start to blend like so. Really quick, just little brush strokes. We're doing a sort of stylized version of these tulips today, so don't get too hung up on any one step. Just breaking it up and just making sure that our brush strokes are going the correct direction, but not stressing out too much about really where they go, okay? It's quick, fluid movements today. Now I'm going to grab my small brush again. I'm gonna just make sure that those flowers are all logically connected. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of that green and just a pinch of white, and I think maybe a tiny pinch of black too, just to bring it down a little bit, so tone it down a little bit. And I'm gonna go right here at the base of these flowers and just make sure that they are connected to something. I'm just going to bring a little kind of oval right underneath, and see that one looks like it's connected to there, so that's good. And then I'm just going to pull that dark green down the stem. Sometimes I might be kind of creating a stem. Sometimes they're already connected, okay? So either way is fine, but you want to make sure that those flowers kind of all make logical sense here. Okay, so bringing that down like so. Very nice. And like so. And then the same idea, kind of going through the steps for each area. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a really, really light green and throwing some highlights in each of those little bases of the flower. Very nice, coming along. Now let's grab a little bit of that green with more black. Gonna do a quick shadow here in our stems and leaves. Just gonna pull that shadow color through each one of my shapes here, making everything look nice and consistent. Okay. And again, we're going for stylized. We're not going for photorealism here. Okay, like so. Just getting that shadow on there. If there's any areas that you feel like you want to add a little bit more greenery, you're welcome to. I'd like to just kind of finesse that guy right there. A little bit more of the base color underneath. You can always make adjustments as needed. There we go. Very pretty. Now let's go ahead and do our vase. So you're going to choose whatever color that you'd like here. You can also do a clear vase. That's kind of a simple way to just kind of retrace the shape here and add a little bit of shine, but I'd like to experiment today with doing a purple vase. So I'm actually just going to take this pink and mix a little bit of blue in to create my purple. And I'll grab a little bit of white as well to keep on that Easter theme. So pretty. And you're just going to cover your sketch line here with whatever color you want to do your vase. You could do black, you could do tan or gray, whatever you'd like. And I'm just gonna then fill it in. Even in the vase, I'm being mindful of the direction that my brush strokes are going in. Every brush stroke matters. Okay. Very pretty. Just thought that corner needed a little bit of purple in it. And how pretty does that look? Okay, looking good. And now I'm gonna grab a little bit of white again with a really, really, really light purple. I'm just gonna go right along the top edge there and maybe a quick swipe along the side as well. And maybe one over there too. So maybe it's a purple ceramic vase is what I'm going for. And then a little bit of black into that purple real quick. We'll get a shadow color. You can go right under the lip with that and get some nice sort of 3D texture. It's still pretty subtle. A little bit more purple just to make sure that things aren't see-through. There we go. Okay, very pretty. Now I'm gonna go back up into my tulips and finish off those. I'm gonna grab my small brush here and I'm just gonna be working with some black, and then white will be sort of our piece de resistance. So adding a little bit of water into that black and just making sure that it's all nice and smooth, and then kind of twisting my brush into it so that the brush comes to a nice point. And then here at the ends of the flowers, we're going to kind of do a little scribble, like so, on either side here. And that's going to give us just a little bit of refinement for our floral shapes here. And then I'm going to kind of outline the bottom here and bring the shadow around, but you don't need to fully outline the flower completely. And then I'm going to do a few swipes of black throughout the shape as well. So it's a little bit tricky, but I'm going to show it a couple now more times. I'm going to be doing a couple flowers. Okay, so kind of a little scribbly texture here. Like so, very light-handed. Swooping around the bottom. And then just adding a few swipes of black in the flower as well. Maybe just one even. Each flower is different. Like so. The looser you sort of do this, the more stylized it's sort of gonna look. Very nice. Like so. And making sure every flower is addressed. Very pretty. Few swipes of black throughout as well. Very nice. And last one here. Okay, very pretty. Like a few at the bottom as well. Start to give it some shape. And I'm gonna grab that same small brush. Gonna take a little bit of red and at some of those bottoms too. I'm gonna add a little bit of sort of a secondary color here. You can add some red throughout that just to give it another layer of depth. And also if you need to cover any other areas. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of white, clean white if I can find it. And just a few little white highlights sort of on each section here is going to finish off your painting today. So simple and fun. Just a nice little tulip bouquet, like they're popping up in your yard and you just had to bring some inside. A little bit of white in each of those areas. It is sort of blending with the pink, so if you're going to go into other areas, you're going to want to rinse your brush in between. Like so. That one's kind of blending strangely, so I'm going to just do a little tidy up real quick. There we go. Okay. Go, and then maybe a little bit of black again for what I was going for the first time. A little bit of differentiation there. Okay, that looks better. Anywhere that you think would look nice for a little highlight, like so. Okay, and maybe even on the vase as well, just a nice shiny white. And just making sure that it's looking a little stylized and messy. Okay, very pretty. That is all the instruction that I have for everyone today, so I hope you enjoyed the painting. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments section below. I would love to see your art, and I've created a Facebook group where my students can share their artwork, whether it be from painting along with me on the weekends or from their own studio. I would love to see you in the art club. There's a link to join that in the description box below. And that is all the instruction that I have for everyone this week. So until next time,